Hello friends, welcome. Friends, recently Reliance Jio made a nationwide announcement for their VoNR deployment, voice over new radio. So this has caught attention of many of my viewers, and therefore my viewers had requested me that I should do a video to explain what the implication of this technology is for the consumers, what are the pros and cons, and why it took so much time for this technology or this service to be launched when 5G was launched long back. It took almost 2 years, right, after 5G has been launched to deploy VoNR. So friends, in this video, we are going to cover every aspect of VoNR technology, how it is different from VoLTE, and how the earlier technologies like 2G and 3G were different from these two technologies, and what it takes to deploy VoNR and VoLTE technologies, and why it took so much amount of time. Now friends, I already recorded a video on this topic in Hindi. I am now re-repeating this video, recording this video in English, and my English viewers, don't get discouraged. I will try my level best to record all videos which I do in Hindi in English as well, as much as possible. Okay, so just be with me and listen till the end. So the title of the video is VoNR, what it means for the consumer. Because if it doesn't mean anything for the consumer, then there is no point in deploying any technology. We are going to talk about voice quality, we are going to talk about reliability, we are going to talk about real life experience. Now friends, every technology that we have experienced in past manages voice differently. For example, 2G and 3G, they are circuit switch, and 4G and 5G are packet switch. Now, what is circuit switch and what is packet switch? Just to make things a little simpler, because I will not go into the details about circuit switch and packet switch because it will go into a different direction otherwise, right? The main theme of this presentation will not get covered. But you need to understand, I'll give you a flavor. Circuit switch means that when the bearer path means where the message is carried. So you have got a bearer path here, and this is this big. Now this bearer path consists of circuits. So it is broken down into different circuits. So this is called circuit switch, right? And these circuits are nailed up connection. Nailed up connection means it starts from one point and ends in the other point, right? So these are called circuit switch. So 2G and 3G were circuit switch technologies. So you switch these circuits in order to do call completion. Whereas in case of packet switch, these are no longer circuits. These are small packets flowing on the larger bearer path. You got it? So what you are doing is, in case of transmitting voice, in case of 4G and 5G, you are just simply converting the voice into these packets and giving these packets priority over those data packets. Because if you don't give priority over those data packets, what will happen? Your voice packets will not reach on time, and you will lose fidelity of the call. Call will lose fidelity, and it will appear as if that it is quite patchy. What you have seen that, if you are talking on a sat phone using a geostationary satellite, when you start conversing with your friend or your colleague who is on the other line, you have to wait, right? After, saying a sentence for the other guy to receive, and then the other guy says, then you have to wait. It looks quite unnatural. Similarly, in order to prevent the conversation becoming unnatural, these packets have to be prioritized over the network compared to data packets, so that these packets do not get throttled. Okay. In case of circuit switch, every circuit is a connection. So there is no need to do any kind of prioritization. So when you pick a circuit, you hold it, and once you hold it, then you are holding it till the time the call is completed. It is especially true for GSM, not for 3G, which has got a different flavor, but I don't want to get into that in this video. Now, why 2G and 3G feels seamless? It felt seamless. The reason is that 2G and 3G is quite an old technology. And over a period of time, all operators, all device manufacturers have made this technology mature. Means there are no much innovation here, or everything has become, you can say that it has stopped evolving. These technologies have stopped evolving. Since this has stopped evolving, the handset and the network have more or less got frozen. Once this handset and network has got frozen, there are no compatibility issues between handset and networks. Means what I'm trying to say is that you have to be, the handset and network has to be compatible in order for these voice calls to work. If they are not compatible, then the voice will fail. So in case of 2G and 3G, because handset and network are seamlessly managed and there are no compatibility issue, it will work at any point of time in all devices. You don't have to worry, right? So there is no the operator tuning required. Roaming voice also works absolutely fine in case of 2G and 3G. But in case of 4G and 5G, there are more to the call, and these are packetized. These are depends upon the customer profile, right? The IMS, the codec, the profile, and the IMS profile and the codec that they are using. Maybe some operators will deploy a certain kind of codec in the base station. The handset may support different codecs. So there are a lot of incompatibilities between the device and the network that may happen. Therefore, we need certification. This certification is the key bottleneck. If a handset manufacturer is manufacturing a device and that device is not certified for Reliance 4G and 5G network, that handset is not going to support voice. Because for packets, you can actually live with a little bit of disconnection here and there. Because for the packet to reach the destination, even if there is some delay, you can manage. But for voice, you can't manage, you can't control any, you can't tolerate any delay. So operator certified phone for setup speed, fallback reliability, and emergency call. And also you have to do handoff testing between 5G and 4G. It is extremely important to ensure that 5G and 4G work seamlessly. Otherwise, what will happen if the 5G and 4G does not work seamlessly, then there will be a problem and then your call is going to get dropped at the time when you lose 5G coverage. Now, coverage and voice reliability is extremely important. Now, if you recall, if you see Reliance's coverage, I think I dropped that particular website. Let me just go to TRI website and I can pick this very clearly. So mobile coverage map, and if I go to Reliance Jio Infocom and I then pick and I just do a little bit of zooming here, then you see 5G coverage. You see 5G coverage is like this. And if I go to 4G coverage, you see 4G coverage. So you'll find that 5G and 4G are almost like overlapping, except for the fact that there are certain areas where 4G is more prominent compared to 5G. So now 5G has become ubiquitous. Because 5G has been ubiquitous, therefore, Reliance Jio has been able to use 5G, able to deploy VoNR. Otherwise, the handoff between 5G and 4G would have become too frequent and the call would have become unstable. The voice would have become unstable. So frequent handoff, and therefore there will be call mutes and call drops. Operator will have to wait longer for voice grade kind of calls support, right? So why Jio waited for VoNR? The reason Jio waited for VoNR is because they wanted their 5G coverage to be similar to that of 4G. If you recall, Jio waited for a long period of time after they picked up spectrum in 2300 megahertz band. I showed it in the Hindi video. I can pick up that slide here also. And because I just lost that. So if I go here and I say spectrum, in my website it says spectrum, and then I search that, this is the purchase. Then I go to my chart and I then filter by Jio here. So if you see Jio here, so if you see here, you will find that Jio had picked up in 2010 23 megahertz band. It's a higher frequency, and still they do not deploy it because they had this spectrum since 2010, but they did not launch 4G in 2012, 2013. Then they tried in 2014 to picking up the 1800 megahertz band. Because the coverage of 2300 megahertz band is pretty poor. They could not get a pan-India carpet-to-carpet coverage, right? So they tried 1800 megahertz band, still the coverage was poor because they didn't have the GSM fallback, okay? So then in 2015 auction, they tried picking up 800 megahertz band and had an alignment with RCOM, and they shared spectrum, traded spectrum with RCOM. And when they created a pan-India 800 megahertz spectrum, which is the low frequency band, their coverage became very good. Then they launched 4G in 2016. Before that, they could not launch 4G. So for voice to work seamlessly, you need low frequency spectrum, which is clearly proven here. Therefore, Jio wanted their coverage of 700 megahertz spectrum 4G to be ubiquitous pan-India before they attempted VoNR, right? So they waited because of that. They needed ubiquitous coverage. They tested handoff between 4G and 5G. So they waited. So now what is the difference between VoNR and VoLTE? Both are packetized. 4G is fast, they are using fast lanes. But what this VoNR is doing is that they use smart 5G fast lane. What is smart 5G fast lane? Latency is lower than 4G. In case of 4G, you will have a higher latency. Call setup time may appear a little larger. Whereas in case of 5G, call setup time may appear lower because the wireless path of 5G inherently reduces the latency. And then fall back to VoLTE when 5G is weak, seamless call. So this is the difference between VoLTE and VoNR. But you may not see a huge difference of quality between VoLTE and VoNR because in India, the quantum spectrum in 700 megahertz is very, very low. And that has got the deepest penetration and coverage. So if you are not using higher end codec, you will not be able to get a very good quality in VoNR, except for the fact that you will get a faster call setup time. So this is what it means for consumer. You will get a better audio quality if you are going to use better codec. What is a codec? Codec is conversion of the digital signals, the message signals, into a form which can be carried over RF so that the message is encapsulated in packets which are of larger size. It carry more information. When you carry more information, then what happens? All the tonal quality and everything, the nuances of the voice, everything gets carried. So you will find the voice music quality. Means it will be very good quality voice. There won't be any kind of jitter and noise, etc. in the voice. For that, you need the EVS codec, but it will start consuming a lot of data. So you need to have a lot of capacity. So you will have fewer. So if the codec is better, then there will be fewer glitches due to better fallback. Fallback is also important because of the ubiquitous coverage I already explained to you. But experience will be similar to VoLTE. If the capacity becomes an issue, then you can't use better codec. Okay. So roaming reality, let's talk about roaming reality. Inside India, VoNR, wherever 5G is available, and there will be VoLTE fallback elsewhere. But when you go out, you have to fall back in 2G and 3G if there is no IMS roaming agreement between Reliance and that operator. So there has to be an IMS roaming agreement where the operator has to agree that they will take the call in VoNR in their network. For that, device also has to be certified and the IMS profiles also have to match. So unless that happens, either you will be in VoLTE or you will be in 2G or 3G. Okay. So what are the practical tips for user? Update your phone software regularly. Keep VoLTE 5G toggle on. Use VoNR certified device. Without certified devices, VoNR is not going to work efficiently. And fall back to 4G if call quality suffer in specific calls. And therefore, friends, you have noticed that because the voice has to be managed. The most important part of any mobile network is managing voice. So unless the voice management becomes top class, the mobile operator is reluctant to launch voice in that native technology. They always will like the voice to fall back in the previous technology, which has been matured and optimized for voice. And that's why Reliance, they did an incremental step when they went from VoLTE to VoNR. So they anyway deployed and tried and tested VoNR in many locations, but nationwide announcement of VoNR only happened recently when they were totally confident. And Bharti cannot deploy VoNR because they don't have a SA network and they don't have low frequency 5G spectrum. They have to rely on 4G core. And that is the reason why you need the low frequency band 5G for VoNR to work. You have to have also SA network because you can't rely on the 4G because 4G will become the anchor carrier for Bharti and therefore they can't deploy VoNR. Similarly, Vodafone Idea will also not be able to deploy VoNR. So hope friends that you have understood this video and thanks for watching till the end. And let me know if you have any questions in the comment section and I'll come back with a new video on a new topic next time. Thank you very much, friends.